Ah, people are stuttering in real time right now. Stuttering, shaking, avoiding eye contact, like their souls just got subpoenaed by the truth itself. And baby, they are glitching out. Their masks are slipping, sliding, falling off completely. And the world is finally seeing them without the little costumes they stitched together to impress the blind. Nothing about them is adding up anymore. Every lie they layered onto their faces is peeling back like old wallpaper. Every false identity they tried to sell is collapsing under the pressure of your presence. You didn't expose them by speaking. You exposed them by existing. The moment your truth started shining, their disguises started malfunctioning. And everybody sees it. Everybody sees them scrambling, blinking too fast, swallowing too hard, breaking eye contact because they know the game is up. They thought they could gaslight you forever. They thought they could twist narratives, flip realities, and walk around untouched. They thought they could paint you as the unstable one while they walked around wearing entire costumes of fabricated sanity. But the second you stood tall in who you really are, the air shifted. Their stories cracked. Their voices shook. Their behavior betrayed them. When you walk in truth, people wearing masks always panic. Always. It's a natural spiritual law. And right now, the law is in full effect. You have people who once mocked you now fumbling with their own guilt like it's burning their fingers. People who once lied on you, now choking on their own words because the truth keeps forcing itself through their cracks. Their nervous systems are glitching because the room is reacting to you before they even speak. People are noticing their inconsistencies. People are noticing their fake confidence. People are noticing how they can't hold eye contact with you for more than 2 seconds without folding. They didn't expect this moment. They thought you would stay quiet, stay small, stay hidden. They thought you would keep doubting yourself while they strutted around with counterfeit power. They thought you would keep questioning your worth while they performed as the stable, confident ones. They didn't know truth has a vibration, and when that vibration hits the room, masks fall off like dead leaves. You didn't say a word. You didn't announce anything. You didn't clap back. You didn't gather them. You simply stepped into who you really are, and the light exposure did the rest. People who used to feel comfortable lying around you now feel their tongues tripping over every syllable. People who used to inflate themselves in your presence now feel their ego deflate like a punctured balloon. People who once treated you like a question mark now treat you like a mirror they're terrified to look into. Because a mirror doesn't lie, and neither do you. The truth in you is so loud it makes liars whisper. It's so sharp it cuts through excuses. It's so pure it burns through facades. They can't play pretend anymore. Not around you, not in this new reality, not when every step you take exposes what they've been hiding under their skin. You're not just glowing, you're revealing. You're not just evolving, you're unveiling. And people who spent their whole lives perfecting their little masks don't know what to do when someone walks in with realness so potent it strips them bare on sight. They thought if they avoided accountability long enough, the world would never see their true nature. But the universe has perfect timing, and that timing hit them the moment you chose to stop dimming yourself. They thought you were soft. They thought you were naive. They thought you were easy to fool, easy to manipulate, easy to guilt trip. They didn't realize you were simply observing. You were studying. You were gathering data in silence. You were letting them reveal themselves. And now that the truth has arrived, they're shaking because none of their old tactics work anymore. Not the charm, not the crocodile tears, not the exaggerated innocence, not the fake humility, not the forced smiles. Their entire performance is collapsing in real time. They are malfunctioning because your presence forces them into honesty, even if they're not ready for it, even if they never planned for it, even if they prayed no one would ever figure them out. But masks always fall, lies always crack, and truth always wins, especially when you carry it without flinching. You didn't just stand tall. You stood unbothered, unshaken, and uninterested in playing their little perception games. And that right there stripped half their power. People who rely on illusions can't survive in bright light. People built on deceit can't breathe in atmospheres of truth. People who crafted entire identities around fooling others crumble when faced with someone they cannot fool. They underestimated you because they were studying your silence instead of your spirit. They thought silence meant weakness. They didn't know silence meant calibration. They didn't know silence meant elevation. They didn't know silence meant you were outgrowing their entire playbook. The funny part is they're not even scared of you. They're scared of themselves around you. They're scared of what they might reveal. They're scared of what slips out. They're scared of how obvious their guilt becomes. They're scared of how transparent their insecurities look when standing next to someone who doesn't wear a mask. They're scared because they see how natural it is for you to embody what they've been pretending to be. Your authenticity exposes their performance every single time. That's why their hands shake. That's why their eyes dart around the room. That's why their voices crack when they speak to you. That's why they suddenly become overly polite or overly defensive or overly distant. They're reacting to their own exposure, not to you. They're reacting to the collapse of the identity they built on lies. They're reacting to the panic of being seen too clearly. You don't even have to confront them. Life is confronting them for you. Every truth they tried to bury is clawing its way back to the surface. Every lie they told is unraveling thread by thread. Every mask they wore is slipping under the weight of your presence. They're learning in real time that when the truth walks in unapologetically, everything falls apart automatically. They're realizing the same thing narcissists all over the world are realizing. There is no hiding place left when exposure is spiritual. They feel that exposure in their bones. They feel it in the way people look at them differently now. They feel it in the way conversations shift around you. They feel it in the quiet, the tension, the awkwardness in the air. Their bodies betray them long before their minds admit it. Stuttering is the body's confession. Shaking is the ego's collapse. Avoiding eye contact is the soul's surrender. They know the truth is stripping them bare, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. God didn't give you this level of discernment to protect them. God gave you this level of discernment to protect you. And because you finally stepped into that discernment, everything false is being dragged into the light, whether people are ready or not. They're glitching because they realize the one person they thought they could fool has become the one person who sees them too clearly to ever be fooled again. That realization alone is destroying their confidence from the inside out. Their masks aren't falling accidentally. Their masks are falling because they were never secured in truth to begin with. What they put on their faces were costumes stitched together with insecurity, envy, imitation, and a desperate need to appear powerful in front of people who never questioned them. But you are not one of those people. You don't absorb illusions. You dissolve them. You don't swallow lies. You read their fingerprints and send them back to their owners. That's why every fake identity collapses the moment it stands next to your authenticity. It's not something you're doing intentionally. It's just how truth behaves in the presence of distortion. It exposes, it reveals, it unmasks. And right now, their souls feel like a stage light is fixed directly onto them, catching every twitch, every hesitation, every contradiction. Their bodies react before their minds can even adjust. They stutter because their tongues can't keep up with the lies their minds are trying to assemble. They shake because their nervous systems know they're standing in front of someone who cannot be manipulated. They avoid eye contact because the windows of their own spirit are too revealing, and they know you'd see everything they've been hiding with a single glance. They're not reacting to judgment. They're reacting to recognition. They can feel in their bones that you're seeing them without the filter. People who rely on deception are comfortable everywhere except in front of the one person they can't deceive. That's why they crumble around you, even if they're smiling. Their smiles are stretched too thin, their voices too soft or too loud, their posture too rigid or too shaky. Nothing about them is natural when they face someone who can sense dishonesty at the molecular level. You have become a threat to the ecosystem of their lies, a destabilizer, a disruptor, a spotlight they never asked for but cannot escape. Because once truth awakens in someone, it doesn't go back to sleep. And once it sees clearly, it doesn't unsee. They feel exposed in your presence because they are exposed in your presence. Every hidden motive, every quiet resentment, every jealous thought, every whispered smear. It's all sitting behind their eyes like a confession waiting to spill. They tried to build their power through performance, but performance collapses in front of reality. They tried to build their reputation on illusions, but illusions dissolve in the face of substance. They tried to build their identity through comparison, yet comparison disintegrates when the person you measured yourself against stops participating in the game entirely. They're learning the hard way that truth isn't loud. It isn't aggressive. It isn't vengeful. Truth is simply undeniable. It stands. It breathes. It exists. And its existence alone rearranges everything around it. When you walk into a room now, your energy acts like a reset button. Everyone's real character flickers to the surface. People who have nothing to hide stand taller. People who operate with pure intentions feel safe. People who have always been genuine become even more open. But the ones who wore masks feel their own facade melting the second they notice you. You're not exposing them, their own behavior is. You're not calling them out, their own spirit is. You're not punishing them, their own guilt is. And that's the part shaking them the most. They realize you don't need to lift a finger to dismantle what they tried to build. Your presence alone unravels everything they constructed to protect their ego. They have spent months, years, entire seasons creating a version of themselves they hoped the world would accept. But the blueprint they followed was flawed from the beginning because they built it on falsehood. They shaped themselves according to what they wished they were, not who they truly are. They copied traits, stole behaviors, mimicked confidence, rehearsed empathy, memorized emotional responses like scripts they hoped no one would notice. But you noticed. You noticed the tension behind their kindness, the calculation behind their generosity, the envy behind their compliments. You noticed the flicker of competitiveness in their eyes, the subtle digs hidden in their jokes, the way they smiled when you struggled, yet acted supportive when people were watching. You saw everything they hoped no one would ever catch, and now they can feel you seeing it. That awareness alone is enough to shatter their entire mask. They can't hide from you because you're not seeing with the eyes you used to. You're seeing through spirit now, through intuition, through discernment, sharpened by every betrayal, every disappointment, every knife-in-the-back moment that forced your perception to evolve. You're not just perceiving their actions, you're reading their energy, you're reading their tone, their hesitation, their inconsistencies, their micro-expressions, their avoidance patterns, their leakage of guilt. You've become a human lie detector without trying. Every time they stand near you, they feel like they're standing under an X-ray machine that scans not their bones, but their intentions. And intentions don't lie. Masks do. But masks can only survive where truth is timid. Your truth is not timid anymore. It's not whispering. It's walking in boldly, rearranging the whole atmosphere, cutting through distortion like glass. They used to treat you like someone they could play with, someone they could hide things from, someone they could manipulate through charm, gaslighting, or silence. They didn't realize that your silence matured into something dangerous, clarity. They didn't realize that while they were performing, you were transforming. They didn't realize that while they were rehearsing lies, your truth was sharpening. They didn't realize that while they were trying to deceive you, their own energy was betraying them. They thought you were slow. They thought you were unaware. They thought you were gullible. They thought they had you wrapped around their little fake narratives. They had no idea they were dealing with someone who learns people faster than people learn themselves. Someone whose intuition is calibrated by spiritual precision. Someone who doesn't need proof to sense the real story, because the real story reveals itself in energy long before it reveals itself in words. And that's why they're spiraling now. Because they know you know. Maybe you never said it out loud. Maybe you never confronted them. Maybe you never held them accountable. But they can feel it. They can feel that the version of you they used to manipulate is gone. They can feel that the door they once slipped through is sealed. They can feel that your perception has risen to a level where their old tactics look foolish, childish, transparent. You're not fighting them. You're not exposing them. You're not retaliating. You simply evolved beyond the frequency where their disguises work. And evolution is the one thing a liar cannot survive. When someone rises into truth, everyone built on deceit either transforms or collapses. They chose collapse, not because you wanted it, but because their spirit couldn't survive authenticity. They shaped their identity around masks too fragile to withstand exposure. And that exposure has arrived. Not in the form of confrontation, but in the form of your metamorphosis. You stepped into yourself, and their entire narrative fell apart. You embraced your truth, and their performance glitched. You unlocked your discernment, and their illusions evaporated. Their anxiety is just a side effect of living in a world where authenticity now has the highest level of spiritual authority. And they can feel that authority radiating from you, whether you speak or not. They're not afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being seen. Because being seen by someone who carries truth is the deepest form of judgment they will ever experience. They feel that judgment in their bones before a single word leaves your mouth. It's the kind of judgment that doesn't attack, it reveals. The kind that doesn't accuse, it illuminates. The kind that doesn't expose through force, it exposes through contrast. When someone who has been lying stands next to someone who has stopped lying to themselves, the energy difference is so severe it becomes unbearable. That's what they're feeling, that unbearable contrast, that widening gap between the identity they pretend to be and the identity they truly are. And every time they stand before you, that gap stretches even further, becoming a silent indictment they cannot escape. Their discomfort is not your doing. It's their own soul recognizing it can no longer hide behind performance. Their body reacts because the truth within you calls out the truth within them, and the parts they've been avoiding don't want to answer. This is why they tremble. This is why they shift their weight from foot to foot. This is why they break eye contact the moment your gaze brushes theirs. They know you can see what they've spent a lifetime trying to bury. They know you can hear the lies, even when they phrase them as compliments. They know you can sense the envy, even when they disguise it as concern. They know you can feel the manipulation, even when they wrap it in sweetness. It's not that they suddenly became worse people. It's that you can finally read them without distortion. The fog is gone. The blindfold has dissolved, the illusion has evaporated, and now you're perceiving them with eyes that have outgrown naivety. And that terrifies them, because they realize the version of you they relied on no longer exists. They can't feed off your uncertainty. They can't hide behind your empathy. They can't gaslight someone who no longer doubts their own intuition. They can't shape your perception when you no longer outsource your truth to other people's opinions. The game is over. Not because you ended it, but because it can't function on your frequency anymore. When someone elevates, every relationship built on deception either adjusts or collapses. These ones collapsed. You didn't remove yourself. They exposed themselves out of your life. They withdrew because their masks couldn't survive the light you now carry. They distanced themselves because their spirit couldn't handle the pressure of authenticity. They pulled back because their lies felt louder in your presence than in silence. And that's why their bodies betray them. They're not glitching because you changed. They're glitching because they can't change fast enough to keep up with the real you. They're glitching because their performance can't keep up with their reality. They're glitching because pretending requires stability, and exposure destabilizes every false thing they built their personality around. You've become the unexpected trigger that forces them to confront the parts of themselves they avoided. And confrontation, for people who have lived behind masks for years, feels like death. Their ego senses the threat first. That's why the shaking starts. That's why their breathing shifts. That's why their sentences tangle. The ego knows you're not someone who can be impressed, deceived, or manipulated anymore. They feel powerless, not because you took their power, but because their power was never real. It was borrowed from your lack of awareness. Now that awareness has returned to its rightful owner, they're left holding nothing but the truth they spent years running from. And truth is heavy for people who have only ever lifted lies. The weight of their own behavior is crushing them, and it shows in every awkward pause, every delayed response, every forced gesture. Their anxiety is evidence of their exposure. Their discomfort is evidence of your evolution. Their reaction is the real confession they never intended to give. You can learn more about a person from how their body reacts to your presence than from any words they speak. Your spirit has become a truth serum, extracting their real nature without a single question asked. They're trying to hold themselves together, but the pieces weren't glued with authenticity. They were held up by performance, and performance crumbles under pressure. The pressure isn't coming from you. The pressure is coming from the truth resonating through you. People who wear masks think the world will fall apart if their real face is exposed. They don't realize the only thing falling apart is the lie. The real face was always meant to breathe. But when they've spent too long suffocating behind the mask, breathing feels terrifying. That's why they run, That's why they avoid. That's why they shift their gaze. Because the truth in you triggers the truth in them that they are not ready to meet. And deep down, they know this exposure is only the beginning. They know the unraveling they feel is not a temporary glitch. It's the consequence of playing roles they were never spiritually equipped to maintain. They know the collapse they're experiencing is not random. It's the result of pretending in front of someone who no longer participates in illusions. They know the fear in their chest is not paranoia. It's their soul remembering what authenticity feels like and realizing how far they drifted from it. You are not their enemy. You are their mirror. And mirrors terrify people who have spent their whole lives avoiding reflections. You are the moment their spirit sees itself clearly. You are the moment their mask slides off. You are the moment the truth they buried crawls out of the ground. And that moment hits them with the force of everything they refused to fix within themselves. That force is what weakens their voice. That force is what trembles their hands. That force is what locks their eyes onto the floor instead of your face. They're not scared of you. They're scared of finally being revealed. They're scared of finally being recognized. They're scared of finally being unable to escape the truth of who they became. And the wild part? You didn't do anything. You didn't expose them. You didn't confront them. You didn't fight them. You simply grew. You simply healed. You simply evolved. And your evolution became the light source that revealed the cracks in their character. They're not shaking because you're powerful. They're shaking because your power makes their weakness undeniable. They're not stuttering because you're intimidating. They're stuttering because your authenticity destabilizes everything they constructed to feel superior. They're not avoiding eye contact because you're judging them. They're avoiding eye contact because their own soul is. You are walking proof that truth doesn't need an army, a strategy, or an announcement to win. It just needs to stand. It just needs to breathe. It just needs to be. And as long as you continue to stand in that truth, the world will keep revealing who was real, who was pretending, who was loyal, who was performing, who was genuine, and who was wearing a mask so fragile it couldn't survive a single moment under your gaze. And the more that truth solidifies in you, the more the people around you start exposing themselves without realizing their own spirit is the one doing the confessing. You don't have to ask questions anymore because their behavior answers everything. You don't have to investigate anything because their energy fills in all the blanks. You don't have to wonder where you stand with anyone because their reactions tell the full story, raw and unedited. They used to be comfortable around you when you were dimmed, unsure, disconnected from your own power. Now they can barely hold a conversation because every word they speak feels weighed against a truth they can no longer avoid. They feel like their soul is being measured every time your eyes land on them. Their body senses the honesty you carry and starts trembling under its own contradictions. Their persona starts glitching because the facade they've been maintaining is collapsing under spiritual gravity. And the truth is, they always knew this moment would come. Somewhere inside them, they knew the day you stopped second-guessing yourself would be the day they could no longer hide behind the characters they created. They knew the moment you stepped into clarity would be the moment their masks started slipping at uncontrollable speeds. They knew the day you stopped seeking validation from others would be the day their influence over you disintegrated like dust. They thought they had time. They thought they had control. They thought if they performed long enough, you would stay blind long enough. But truth has a way of erupting from silence without warning, and when it does, everything false begins to tremble. You stepped into yourself, and the environment recalibrated. You stepped into authenticity, and their illusions evaporated. You stepped into clarity, and their behaviors exposed themselves like cracks in glass. And now they can feel the pressure of standing next to someone who is no longer tricked by shadows. You were once the person they underestimated because you processed life quietly. They misread your introspection as weakness, not realizing introspection is the birthplace of perception. They thought your softness meant they could push boundaries, twist narratives, insert their projections into your mind. But now that same softness has become the lens that reveals their lies with frightening accuracy. They don't know how to exist around someone who isn't confused anymore, someone who isn't apologizing for seeing things clearly, someone who isn't shrinking to make others comfortable, someone who carries truth the way others carry excuses. So they stutter, they break eye contact, they shake, they misword sentences. They fold their hands just to keep them from trembling. They avoid standing too close because they can feel your energy peeling back the layers they hid behind. It's not intimidation, it's recognition. Their spirit is recognizing that you've become someone they can no longer manipulate, deceive, or impress. And for people who survive on manipulation, deception, and performance, that recognition feels like the ground is disappearing beneath their feet. They don't fear you. They fear who they become in your presence. They fear the loss of control. They fear the collapse of their persona. They fear the truth that rises inside them when your spirit gets too close. They fear accountability, not because you demand it, but because your existence makes it unavoidable. They don't need you to expose them. Their nervous system does that for you. Their avoidance does that for you. Their discomfort does that for you. Their silence does that for you. You became the moment they've been running from. The moment they meet themselves. And nobody runs from you unless they're really trying to avoid themselves. Every mask they wore had a purpose. Every persona had a function. Every performance was a survival tactic, designed to protect the identity they wanted the world to believe. But when someone with real clarity enters the room, the purpose of the mask dissolves. There's nothing left to protect when the truth is already out in the open. They realize in real time that the version of themselves they tried to present no longer holds power. Their mask was built for audiences who couldn't see, but you are not blind anymore. You are not impressionable anymore. You are not emotionally compromised anymore. You are discerning. You are aligned. You are awake. And awakened people are kryptonite to false personalities. That's why the shaking intensifies the longer they stand near you. That's why their voice cracks even when they pretend to be confident. That's why their smile twitches like they're fighting their own spirit. Their body can't lie to you. Their aura can't lie to you. Their silence can't lie to you. You've become a spiritual mirror they never asked for, but desperately needed. Some people want transformation until they see what transformation demands. It demands honesty. It demands self-confrontation. It demands the removal of masks they've glued to their identity for years. And when you show up as someone who already went through that fire, people who never allowed themselves to burn feel exposed by the flames they see in your eyes. You didn't ask for this authority. You earned it by surviving what they hid behind. You didn't demand this discernment. You grew into it by facing truths they refused to acknowledge. You didn't force their masks to fall. You simply learned how to stop dimming your own light, and their masks fell off by themselves. And the more you rise, the more they scramble to hide what is already visible. Their reactions aren't random, they are revelations. Their avoidance isn't distance, it's confession. Their trembling isn't nervousness, it's exposure. Their stuttering isn't weakness, it's the truth trying to escape the cage their ego built around it. They know this is not the old dynamic anymore. The energy has shifted too dramatically. The roles have reversed too naturally. The truth has tilted the room too sharply. They once stood over you with false authority, but now even their shadow shrinks in your presence. They once spoke confidently, but now their tongue betrays every lie they're trying to resurrect. They once avoided accountability by redirecting blame, but now their own spirit redirects it back to them before you even open your mouth. You didn't win by force. You won by alignment. You didn't dominate by confrontation. You dominated by elevation. You didn't unmask them loudly. You unmasked them silently. And silence is scarier than accusation, because silence leaves people alone with their truth. You are not here to embarrass them. You are here to embody the version of yourself they tried to bury. And that embodiment is what humiliates them, not your intention. They don't want you to dim again, because dimming is the only version of you they knew how to handle. This new version of you, rooted, aligned, sharp, spiritually anchored, demands a level of honesty they never prepared for. They don't know how to hold themselves together around someone who doesn't flinch at truth. They don't know how to wear a mask around someone who sees through fabric. They don't know how to manipulate someone who has already outgrown manipulation. You've outgrown their tactics, and now their tactics are choking them. They built their world on instability, and now the ground beneath them is reacting to your stability. They built their identity on illusions, and now your clarity is dissolving every illusion they used to hide inside. They built their confidence on your confusion, and now that you are no longer confused, they've lost the confidence they constructed. Their entire persona is malfunctioning because without the mask, there is no performance. Without the performance, there is no control. Without control, there is no power. And without power, they are forced to meet the real version of themselves, the version they've been avoiding for years. They thought you would crumble under the truth. Instead, you rose into it. They thought truth would break you. Instead, it built you. They thought exposure would weaken you. Instead, exposure anointed you. What they never expected was that the same truth that healed you would destroy their illusions. They never considered that truth has two sides, the side that restores the honest and the side that crushes the counterfeit. They celebrated when they thought the truth was against you, but now they tremble because that same truth is revealing them. They loved truth when they thought it made you look weak, unstable, emotional, difficult to read. But now that truth paints them as the one fumbling, the one shaking, the one slipping, the one being exposed. They are terrified. Their reactions tell the whole story. Their avoidance is louder than any confession they could ever speak. Their stuttering is more honest than any justification they could ever offer. Their trembling is the apology their pride will never allow them to say. They're not reacting to something you did. They're reacting to everything they did in the dark that can no longer hide. They're reacting to the spiritual echo of their own actions. They're reacting to the reality that you survived what was meant to silence you, and now your survival is shining light on everything they hoped would remain hidden. You became the proof that God was watching when they weren't. You became the evidence that the truth they buried still grew roots. You became the living reminder that masks don't protect anyone. They only delay the moment of exposure. And that moment has arrived. Not with chaos, not with drama, not with confrontation, but with clarity. The quiet kind of clarity that makes liars lose their words. The subtle kind of clarity that makes deceivers lose their balance. The spiritual kind of clarity that makes people who once felt superior suddenly feel small in the presence of someone they assumed would never rise. They thought you rising meant they would rise with you. They didn't expect your rise to reveal the depth of their manipulation, the hollowness of their intentions, the fragility of their performances. They didn't expect your transformation to cast a shadow over every false thing they built. They didn't expect your healing to demand they face the wounds they ignored. Your truth is not just stripping masks. It's stripping excuses. It's stripping narratives. It's stripping the illusions they used to hide in. And now, with every breath you take, they feel exposed in ways they've never felt before. People who once mocked your intuition now fear your silence. People who once doubted your perception now fear your gaze. People who once underestimated your presence now fear standing anywhere near it. Because your presence is no longer neutral. It's revealing. It's discerning. It's spiritually confrontational, without needing to confront anyone directly. They don't know how to defend themselves, because they don't know which part of themselves is being exposed at any given moment. They feel naked around you, even fully clothed. They feel vulnerable around you, even when they're trying to act confident. They feel transparent around you, even when they're trying to guard their energy. And the wild part? You're not doing anything but existing. You're not analyzing them. You're not studying them. You're not interrogating them. You're simply present. Present in your truth. Present in your growth. Present in your alignment. Present in a strength that doesn't need to be performed. And that presence alone strips their masks off. Live in real time, the way heat strips wax from a candle. Every eye they refuse to meet reveals a truth they refuse to face. Every shaky hand reveals a guilt they hoped you'd never notice. Every rushed sentence reveals a lie they can no longer organize fast enough to hide behind. Every sudden silence reveals the parts of themselves they tried to bury in your shadow. They can't hide who they are when your authenticity is forcing their identity to reveal itself. That's what they never planned for. They planned for you to stay small. They planned for you to stay insecure. They planned for you to stay blind. They planned for you to stay broken. Because as long as you stayed broken, they could pretend to be whole. As long as you stayed unsure, they could pretend to be wise. As long as you stayed dim, they could pretend to shine. As long as you stayed quiet, they could pretend to speak truth. But the moment you healed, the moment you stepped into your own identity, the moment you claimed your discernment, the moment you stopped doubting yourself, the mask they wore shattered on impact. They lost the role they were playing because the script no longer worked. They lost the audience they depended on because you stopped performing. They lost the leverage they once held because you outgrew the version of yourself they mistook as permanent. You outgrew their expectations. You outgrew their manipulation. You outgrew their projections. You outgrew their version of you. And now they're face to face with the version of themselves they buried. They wanted to watch you fall apart. They never imagined they would fall apart trying to hide from your truth. They wanted you to look unstable. They never imagined their own mask would slip so violently that people would start asking questions. They wanted you to doubt yourself. They never imagined their own voice would start trembling in front of you. They wanted you to be exposed. They never imagined exposure would be the very thing that crowned you. You stood tall. And the taller you stood, the harder their false identity collapsed. Because masks cannot survive altitude. They cannot breathe at the level you've risen to. They cannot function in the clarity you now walk in. They cannot anchor themselves to a soul that refuses to shrink anymore. You didn't set out to win. You set out to heal. And in healing, you won. They set out to deceive. And in deceiving, they lost. Now everywhere they turn, the consequences of their own behavior stare back at them. People notice their avoidance. People notice their agitation. People notice their contradictions. People notice how differently they act around you versus everyone else. People notice how their voice shifts when your name is mentioned. People notice how their eyes dart when you enter the room. People notice the guilt leaking out of their pores. Everyone sees the truth now, not because you told it, but because the truth is too loud to hide anymore. And soon the very people who once treated you as an afterthought will begin to realize something even deeper, something that changes the entire dynamic forever.